Homer led the league in tackles with 85. The deep ball for Darius Prince, and Philadelphia's on the board first.
On the draw, this is Bryson Allen. And Allen weaving his way all the way down to the 22.
10-yard line, 5. Mayfield, dancing all around. Throwing as far as he can throw it. Jump ball coming. Crazy stuff. Not this time.
And you want to be a wide receiver. You're going to have to take a little bit of a hit like that as Brown got him in that shoulder, but watch. Those are teeth.
Do we have a dentist on staff here?
Shady Sports, man. I'm here with a super exciting interview. Albany Firebirds, new QB1, Mr. Jake Medlock. Jake, how are we doing tonight, big dog?
Man, I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Really excited for this opportunity to speak with you. My first question is, you're returning to the playing field after a 5-year hiatus. What was your reaction when you got the call from Coach Ware?
Well, me and Coach Ware have talked off and on the last couple years. I was a college football coach for a while. I was a high school coach. And then finally when, things that went down with him, we talked again. He's like, are you interested? And I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm the strongest I've ever been. I mean, I work out twice a day. I do QB training now, so I'm always throwing. I mean, shoot, I got about 500 throws in last night with some ex-guys that I know. And so, it was just – I was like, why not? Let's give it one more shot.
That's really impressive to me because I saw those videos on your Facebook story. You threw that ball about 60 yards with a flick of the wrist. How have you been able to maintain your arm strength all these years?
Well, definitely the guys that I've, recruited at the high school, from high school to college, that played for me. Even the high school guys I did coach, I'm always throwing, with them. And then it's always a competition because they all know from my pro day, I threw 83 yards in the air. So every kid that I've ever recruited or, coached in high school, they're always like, Coach, I got you. I'm like, nah, man, you don't got me yet. Right now I train James Morgan, who is an ex-4th round draft pick by the Jets up there in New York. I trained him. He just signed in Montreal. Kalen Wiggins was with the Bucks. I trained him as well. They all, try to test out to think they got me. I'm like, nah, y'all don't got the master yet. And, it's always a fun thing. It's always a competition every time because everyone that knows me knows I've always been known for a big arm.
Definitely, that's kind of your signature thing. Even when you played arena with the Cedar Rapids Titans, you were chucking the ball all around the field. And I think that makes you suited for this AFL game. You have a whole host of receivers, Darius Prince, Daquan Patton, Marquel Wade, one of your boys. How excited are you to play with such an elite receiving corps?
Man, I'm so excited. That was one of the cool things, especially playing with a legend like Prince, giving him the rock, all the other guys, Wade. Me and Wade have had a connection since high school. We were supposed to go to Arkansas together, and, it didn't work out. And then we always just trained together. Then finally Iowa, we had a chance. So, it's great to be reunited with my boy. We're like family. So, I'm just excited with the group of guys, getting to know them and, getting to light this thing up with them.
Coach Ware, he doesn't develop football players. He develops men. How has Coach Ware kind of developed you as a man, and what role has he played in your life off the field?
Man, I tell you what, Coach Ware has helped me grow up a lot. I was a fiery type of guy. I'm a very high-strung. I'm very, fiery, excited, it was off the field as well. He helped me grow up and, look at things different than how I, have always thought. I've always had a chip on my shoulder because of my career and how it happened and what has happened. And, Coach Ware just said, just trust process, trust what God tells you to do and, just follow it. And, he's helped me a lot over the years, even keeping in touch when he was down here in Orlando with the Preds, I went and watched the game and, because we've always had good connection. He's a great man. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's definitely a great, role model for a lot of people. And he's definitely put a lot on my life, and I appreciate it.
I kind of want to transition to your college career here. You played at FIU, and you played with FIU when they were stable. A stable program. They've kind of fallen off since. But playing in that Miami environment, how was it going to school there?
Man, I had a blast. FIU was a good thing. Coach Criswell gave me a shot that I thought I wasn't going to get. I was a very highly recruited guy going into my junior year. My junior year, I blew up even more. And I'll never forget it. We're playing my first game my senior year, and I blew my shoulder out, my throwing shoulder, and I lost 50 offers. I could have gone anywhere I wanted to. And Coach Criswell stuck by me and said, Jake, I'm going to turn you into a monster. And he did, at FIU. And, that recruiting class of 2010, we set the standard of what FIU was going to be. First year, all of us there, we competed with the older cats. It was like the most freshmen ever to start. And, the older guys taught us the ways. We bought in as a family, and we set the standard all the way through. Unfortunately, Coach Criswell got fired a couple of years later. That, hurt the program for a long time.
After your time at FIU, transferred to Valdosta State and Valdosta, Georgia. They have a whole great history of developing quarterbacks. I feel like every quarterback that goes to Valdosta State is successful just because of the offense they run. Mm-hmm. What was your experience there?
Man, Valdosta was awesome, man. It revamped my career. I was in a low point of my life, a low point of my career. Coach Dean, Coach Froman, Coach Roper, they all, they changed my life forever. It brought back the fun of the game. It's all, that place is QB1. It's still going like that. I mean, Sammy Edwards right now, who I actually got to work, I was blessed to train and work with when I was with 6 Points. Sammy was the runner-up in the Harlem Hill, which is the D2 Heisman. And, it was fun. The offense is it's all about the QB. I was blessed my senior year. I had the highest completion percentage in the country, and learned a lot of ball from them, which to this day, I'm an OC at a high school that I still run the same exact offense.
That's really great to hear. You're kind of carrying your teaching throughout your career. You're a high school football coach. You coach college. You were a quarterback coach at Missouri Southern. What do you think the biggest issue is in college football today?
College football is getting away from what it was used to be. Do kids deserve to get paid? I totally agree they do. I do believe they need to get paid. Shoot, I wish I got paid. I remember when I was at FIU, my jersey was getting sold. But the transfer portal and how things are going, I mean, it's different. I ain't going to lie to you. When I was college coach, I lived in the portal. I was bringing in cats that you would never expect coming D2. At Missouri Southern, worked for Coach Sims, which if you've never watched Last Chance U, he's the one that was from Garden City. And I'll tell you what, I learned so much from that man as a coach, as a recruiter, and I can't thank him enough for what he's done for my life. But it's not about ball. It's not about life lessons anymore. And I think that's where it's getting to. And it's starting to get into the high school game, which is even worse. Football is supposed to teach you life lessons and how to get through adversity. And now it's just the money thing. And that's why college coaches are leaving to go to the NFL, because in the NFL, it's not like that, and so you already got those guys. You already got those guys making that money. And, you got GMs and scouts and, all those guys do all the business instead of what you have to do at college and work 365 days of the year. But hopefully one day we get back to the old roots. I still think they should get paid, but I think they need to hone in on this portal just a little bit.
I always had the question for coaches. When you evaluate film, especially as a college coach, you're watching film of guys from Division I. You're also watching film from guys in JUCO and high school. How do you evaluate a player based on the level of competition they face?
It depends on the size. I've found some linemen before that were 6'7", 6'8", that were playing private school ball. It's when I look, it depends on the position, but no matter what, you want tall and long, skinny ankles. You can find a quarterback that's 6'5", 205, 210 that really ain't a quarterback. He's a tweener. It's a great tight end. You got to think outside the box. Your best player on a high school football team is normally your quarterback. is he a legit quarterback or is he a wide receiver or a DB or something of that sort? Like, you don't know. And so you have, anyone can go in there and go, that's a 5-star, because they can just look it up. The fun is when you find that hidden gem. When you find that hidden gem, like I was very blessed to find a guy named Dawson Hurl, who was a walk-on at Missouri Southern and torched it. I mean, beat out 2 Division I transfers that we brought in, and he beat them both out and got their money, and, now he's at UCO balling. He threw for like 500 yards in a game this past year, It's just finding those guys that you don't think you could find, and how can you make them?
That's a great answer. That kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things. When you came out of college and you went to the indoor game, you found instant success. Was it easier for you coming from more of an offensive-based system in college?
Well, I actually went to Germany first before I went to the arena leagues. I went to Germany, then I went to Canada for a little bit. And then when I got done, Paco Martinez from the Wichita Force, when the Wichita Force were doing all those great things, hit me up. Never heard of indoor football. Didn't know what IFL was. All I knew was what the AFL was because I had the video game back in the day. And when I learned it, it definitely is quicker. And it took me a couple days to go, all right, this ain't anything that you learn on outdoor field. You got to change everything. And it actually got me to where I had a touch ball, which I never had a touch ball in my career until I started playing arena ball. And then it took me about a game, to figure out. And then I was like, okay, I got this, I'm getting the hang of it, the timing, I start spending extra time with the receivers because if you don't have a connection with them, you're screwed in the indoor game. And so, I was very blessed with what I did in Wichita, with what I did in Cedar Rapids, what I did with Tucson. The funny thing is when I was in Cedar Rapids, I actually got moved up to the Albany Empire when they were still the AFL. It was like the last year AFL. And I was up there for like a week and I was like, you know what? I'm going back to Iowa. I want to go try to win the MVP. That was my whole goal. And so I went back, and so it's been a good career with that in the indoor game. It's done a lot of good things for me.
When you look at the indoor game versus the arena game as a quarterback, which one is your more favorite to play?
As far as like AFL, IFL, and all that?
Yeah.
It don't matter to me. I enjoy all of it. The IFL, the quarterback runs a little bit more, which I've done. And at Valdosta, I rushed for almost 900 yards my senior year, and I missed 3 games. The AFL is more of your throwing, which that's what I do. That's my game, is make every throw. Like, there's not a throw on the field that I can't make. I could be moving to the right, and I've yet to see any AFL guys, and I've been watching it all the way since Steven Garcia, that used to play for the Jacksonville Sharks back in the day, played quarterback, and all those guys. You don't see guys throwing from the far right side of the field going all the way left. Like, you have to pay attention to everything, because I will test every throw there is on the field because I know I have that arm to do it.
A big part of your game in college and in arena is protecting the football. You throw for a low number of interceptions. At Valdosta, your interception to touchdown ratio was 4-1. At FIU, it was 2-1. And in the indoor game, it was something like 8-1. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But where did you learn how to protect the football so well, and what coach do you give credit to?
My father. My father was my OC in high school. And if you had a turnover, you had to do 200 up downs. And I had one game in high school, I threw 2 picks. I had to do 400 up downs. And I did not want to do up downs anymore. So I learned how to protect that ball very quickly. When I was at FIU, my touchdown to interception ratio was even better till my last year. My last year at FIU, I did, I was injury bug hit me, and I'll just try to force a lot of things and new offense, and because I was with a new head coach. But everywhere I've been, I've done pretty well protecting the ball. That's my big thing. Like, I take ownership in that, and it makes me proud that, like, hey, I don't mess around. I've had some in arena ball. There's still some I wish I could have back. That doinked off somebody and ricocheted into it. And I'll never forget the Arizona Rattlers game. I hit a dude in the head, and it ricocheted, and the dude wasn't paying attention, just stuck in his hand. I'm just like, are you kidding me? So, and even to this day, whenever I have a turnover, I still will run for it. I won't do the up downs anymore, but at practice, I'll do extra runs after practice because I take that serious, because if you take care of the football, you win a game.
Definitely. And, you train kids, you train college players, you train pro athletes. Today's generation, there's a lot of things that have changed kind of from back in your day in terms of accountability. How do you hold your athletes and clients accountable?
So the cool thing is they respect me because of what I've done as a player, as a coach, as a trainer, and who I have trained, and who I've worked with. Denny Thompson was the first quarterback trainer that I actually learned really deep technical stuff up at 6 Points up in Jacksonville, which has taken off. And I take a lot of my, success because of him. So it helps having that as your background. But like guys like James Morgan, who's more of a mental-based guy, he will test you to see what you know. And if you fumble and start stuttering, he knows he's got you, and having guys like that makes it fun, because then you're like, okay, I really know what I'm talking about, and so when the kids get with me, they get really excited because they all look me up. They all know what I've done, who I've worked with. And the cool thing is like I have kids from 8 all the way up to professionals. On Sundays, I do group trainings where 9 to 11 is 8 to 12-year-olds, and then at 11 to 1 is high school, college, and professionals. So like the little kids will stay and watch how the older cats do it and see, man, this is where I want to be. And then they'll actually ask questions. Like last week I had a little kid named Miles who wanted to ask question to James of like, hey man, how did you do this? What did you do here? Colton has asked multiple guys. There's a young guy who I believe me and his dad talked is ranked 4th in the country right now in his age group, which is awesome, And so like they all give and take and give help, and the older cats always will give back to the younger guys, which is so cool. And then as far as the high school guys that I coach, they hear about it. They look, they can look you up in anything nowadays. And they're like, oh, coach, you don't got it. So there's times last year where I played scout team quarterback. Like, look, dude, you ain't ready for this. I mean, we have a 4-star defensive end that's blowing up right now, Colby Cronk. And he is, if I always say, if I ever had a kid and if I had a daughter, he would be the kid to marry my daughter. That's how great of a human being he is. But even him, he even let me go, coach, that's different. I said, yeah, bro, I don't mess around, and so, the kids learn respect and, and we talk a lot of smack, but enjoy it at the same time.
That's great to hear. And, you look at the AFL coming back in 2024, and they're giving guys a new platform. You're going to be playing on national TV. You're also playing one of the biggest AFL markets in the country in Albany. When you look at that, how excited are you for the AFL return? And what's one thing you hope that the league bring back?
I'm very excited to be a part of Albany. I'm excited that the AFL's back because that's what fans really enjoy, that, especially being up in Albany. When I was up there for 2 weeks, I was treated great, and I just remember, Joe Hill is taking me in, talking, Tommy Grady, and everything, and just meeting some people out when I was there. Like, it was just awesome. I mean, this whole city of Albany is awesome. I can't wait to now really get to know them and really get to see things, and all that. And, watching this grow, because let's be real, the AFL is what, was the big thing back in the day. And hopefully I can be a part of bringing it back. I've always been a guy that likes taking things that were, not very good jobs and then change them and let's make them into a great thing, and hope, and, this is where God has led me, and so I can't wait to see it.
Jake, it's been great having you on. I really appreciate your time. I can't wait for April 27th, your first home game against the Orlando Predators and Drew Powell. What's your biggest goal individually besides winning a championship for the 2024 season?
Man, I just, I would love to win a championship. I unfortunately have been close a couple times, in college. I got to feel a conference championship and bowl game win in college at FIU. My last year of arena was in Tucson and lost a heartbreaker where I felt like if we got through that, we had a really good shot, and playing Orlando at home is going to be fun because I owe Drew a couple, and I love Drew. Me and Drew have had some great battles together. You know, I've lost to Drew 84-83, 35-34. You know, I owe Drew some. And I'm looking forward to getting back to our little rivalry kind of that we have together, even though he's kicked my butt a couple times. No, I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, getting back on the field and, you know, getting with the new guys. I've talked to Prince. I've talked to Hag. I've talked to Wade, you know, me and Wade. He's been calling me every day, making sure I sign the contract. But I'm looking forward to getting out there with the guys and just seeing the big crowd. You know, Tucson was a good crowd when I was there, but I know Albany is going to be a lot of people out there, and they're going to be excited, and I can't wait to play in front of them.
I'm really excited to watch you, and I wish you the best of luck in 2024.
Appreciate it.
I'm a game changer.